Hey guys, hope you are doing well today. We are going to talk about a topic that is in the air right now, everywhere out there in the news. So, tariff here, tariff there. It seems like there's a tariff everywhere. But how will these tariffs impact the housing market, specifically around new construction across the country and, of course, even here in Charlotte? So, that's what we're going to talk about today. I've got a couple of articles to share with you. I'm going to give you kind of my thoughts. I would love you to drop in the comments below and tell me what you're thinking about as all of this tariff news swirls and the housing market's effects that could be on the back end of all of these things going on. But before we dive into the article, if you're new around here, my name is Brian Taylor. I am the owner of Dreamline Realty right here in Charlotte. So without any further ado, let's jump into some news here and I'll give you some info on what's going on here with the tariffs. So as I'm sure that you've heard, President Trump is going to tariff a lot of things in his efforts to jumpstart, I wouldn't say necessarily jumpstart the economy, but have a more of a level playing field as he sees it with other countries. So this one here is from Yahoo Finance, and it reads how Trump's tariffs could impact the housing market. So before I do get into this, I will share with you, we are getting a lot of people asking us this question. So I wanted to jump on this video and kind of clear the air, kind of collectively share with you what we know and where we think we may be headed. So anyway, how Trump's tariffs could impact the housing market. So again, as I told you, President Trump's proposal to implement significant tariffs on the country's key trade partners could have a ripple effect on the U.S. housing market. As you all know by now, Trump has called for levying a 25% tariff on all imports from Canada and Mexico and 60% on China, along with an additional 10% tariff above any tariffs he's already put. However, the tariffs, while aimed at solving perceived social and economic issues, could drive up prices for new homes and renovations, further straining an already tight market. So the article goes on to say that the tariffs will raise the cost of materials, which could directly increase the cost of constructing new homes. Carrying on with this article, we're talking about rising material costs. So rising construction costs and tariffs directly lead to higher home prices. That's from George Carrillo. He's the CEO of Hispanic Construction Council. He says, for instance, the 2018 tariffs, which were 25% on steel and 10% on aluminum, caused material costs to jump by 10 to 15%, adding roughly $1 billion to construction expenses in just 1 year alone. Now, that was in 2018. I would suspect we're going to have similar numbers tied to that as we see what unrolls here over the next few months. But goes on to say new home construction, which is already challenged by labor shortages and disrupted by supply chain, faces added strain from tariff-induced hikes. And it says the tariffs will slow down the economy and will also encourage the Federal Reserve to pursue a higher interest rate environment. The net result will be higher mortgage rates for borrowers. Together, the higher rates coupled with rising costs of construction will significantly reduce housing affordability. Now, more to come on this when we talk about interest rates, which I'll go through with you here in a minute. There's a lot of conflicting information on that side of the fence. We'll dive into that in just a moment. But the article further says that higher prices require more of a down payment. That would be true. Higher closing costs and potentially a higher credit score needed to qualify. With the housing market already facing a deliberating shortage, this would make it even harder for first-time home buyers or those with more restrictive loan types to compete with cash and conventional offers. Let's see what else we got here. What home buyers and homeowners can do as we face what's coming ahead. Potential buyers might consider accelerating their purchasing decision to avoid anticipated price hikes and secure a home before tariffs take full effect to achieve cost savings. So maybe you're in the market to purchase a new home, and maybe with the rising home prices that we're likely going to see, and I'll show you specifically regarding lumber and drywall in just a minute, hey, it may make sense to make a move sooner than later. All right, so let's go over here and let's look at this article from the National Home Builders Association. This kind of further breaks down some of the costs that we're going to see probably impacted here with these tariffs. So how tariffs impact the home building industry is the title of this article. Again, this is from the National Association of Home Builders. They estimate that $204 billion worth of goods were used in the construction of both new multifamily and single-family housing in 2024. 14 billion of those goods were imported from outside the US, meaning approximately 7% of all goods used in new residential construction originate from a foreign country. But here's where it gets really interesting. Two essential materials used in new home construction, softwood lumber and gypsum, which is used to make drywall, are largely sourced from Canada and Mexico, respectively. Of 8.2 billion worth of sawmill and wood products imported in 2024, nearly 72% of those imports came from Canada, guys. That is a large, large number. It says the U.S. imported $481 million worth of lime and gypsum products in 2024, which is 74% of those products originating from Mexico. So going down further here in this article, it says the cost of building materials has already risen by 34% since December of 2020. And builders estimate a total typical effect from recent tariffs at $9,200 per home. So that right there alone tells us that new construction home prices are going to rise because these builders' costs are going to rise, and naturally they are going to pass that on to the consumer. Interestingly, on March 1st, the White House issued 2 executive orders on lumber. The first order centers on the need to expand American timber production, and the second directive looks to examine if imports of timber and lumber threaten national security. So, hey, we're thinking, hey, let's just make lumber ourselves, right? Well, that may not be the easiest thing to do. And it says here, while it is a worthy goal to increase domestic production, the reality is that U.S. sawmills do not currently have the capacity to meet domestic demand. So the National Association of Home Builders believes that any move in the short term to add tariffs or hinder the flow of lumber from Canada will only harm housing affordability. So guys, tell me what you think so far as we cruise through these articles. Are you in the market for new construction, number one? And if you are, would this news prompt you to maybe make a move sooner than later, knowing that more than likely home prices on new constructed homes are probably going to go up? So we also mentioned in the beginning of this article the impact that could be on interest rates. So let's shift gears and go over here to this article from CNBC. And this one here says that Trump is saying that the Fed should cut interest rates to ease the economy's transition to his tariffs. So what basically he is saying is, after largely staying out of the Federal Reserve's business during his first 2 months in office, President Trump is pushing the central bank to cut interest rates as a backstop for his tariff plans. Now, Jerome Powell, though, is saying, now the Fed met about 2 weeks ago, and in that news conference, the Fed left rates alone, which everyone expected them to do. But at his post-meeting news conference, he addressed the tariff issue multiple times, largely reiterating the uncertain impact that they could have as justifying the Fed's cautious current stance. In addition, Powell indicated that the duties could raise inflation in the short run, but the impacts would recede over time. Lower rates, however, could combine with tariffs to stir more inflation. That is also a concern. Markets expect the Fed will wait until June before cutting rates. Fed rate reductions also don't always feed directly into lower borrowing costs. So now that we're talking about interest rates, let's shift gears over here and see where we're at today. Now, this is Mortgage News Daily. This is just one measure of interest rates that I track. Basically, what this is saying is if the average fixed rate on a 30-year fixed is at 6.8% today. Now, that's much lower than it was about 2 months ago. We were over 7% 2 months ago. So interest rates have come down, but we don't know what the impact is going to be as these tariffs take full effect. And as you may have heard in the news, on April 2nd, the reciprocal tariffs are going to kind of kick in. So that is kind of what everyone is kind of watching right now. But this 6.8% is basically if you are a buyer with really good credit, putting down 20%, that's really what you can expect to see on a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, guys. So I know I threw a lot of this at you, but I would love to hear what you have to say about this article and these articles, and if you think we're going to see new home construction increase. My honest opinion is of course, it looks like with things going on, the more cost these builders absorb, the higher the home prices are going to be. But guys, if you need my help in your home search, please reach out to me. My number is right there on your screen. Scan that QR code or go to smoothmovecall.com. Hop on my calendar. Would love to talk about your situation and see how I can best help you make a good home buying decision when the time is right for you. If you're moving here from out of state, a lot of people take me up on this offer because it's very easy for us to kind of collectively put your timeline together. But if you currently live in Charlotte looking to do something local, I'm also here to help you out. So guys, thanks again so much for watching my video. Drop a comment below. Let me know what you're thinking. Would love to hear from you. Have a great day. And as always, make it a great day.